Do you use social media? If so, what social media platforms do you use? And about how many hours a day would you say you spend on social media? Today, I hope to give you an understanding as to why social media has a negative effect on all of our lives. The addictive element of social media negatively affects one mentally, socially, and physically. First, I want to talk about the negative effects social media has on one's mental health. Oftentimes, the pressures that come alongside social media trigger anxiety and depression. For example, adolescents' lives are centered around social media and keeping up the status of the perfect lifestyle. We tend to become overwhelmed by social media. As users spend an abundance of time scrolling through their social media platforms, they often compare themselves to the unrealistic expectations influencers display. The shortcomings of these expectations drop the self-esteem of many jealous individuals, inducing anxiety and depression. What society sees on social media oftentimes is not reality. This creates anxiety within young adults who desire the perfect lifestyle. Teenagers fall into a depressive state because they feel less than others. The effect social media has on one's mental health is only the first of many problems social media brings forth. The next point I want to discuss is how social media affects one socially. As users are sucked into these addicting platforms, they withdraw from reality. Since teenagers spend most of their time on social media forming bonds and relationships, they forget how to connect with people in real life. Adolescents worry that if they spend time off of social media, they will miss potential social media events, which is believed to have a negative effect on their in-person social interactions. Many times, social media can cause people to be catfished, meaning that someone will hide behind a screen and behind an image of some random person acting like they're someone that they are not. This causes problems with trust, and which eventually causes problems with social interaction in real life. Connecting with someone in person is a great deal different than just hiding behind a screen. But since it is so easy to make internet friends, society does not want to establish or make teenagers or anyone have in-person interaction. The constant use and dependence on social media leads to a social recluse, unable to speak and communicate outside the virtual interaction safety net of social media, ultimately lowering the social intellect in a normal face-to-face manner, ultimately lowering social self-esteem. Furthermore, many relationships are harmed by social media. As users begin to gain an excessive amount of followers, they tend to grasp onto the thought that they are better than others. This mindset of being better causes rifts and complications in relationships. Having less social interaction is another one of the many ways social media negatively affects society. Finally, let's move on to the negative effects social media has on one physically. Social media affects the physical health of adolescents in many, many ways. The time spent on social media platforms takes away from physical activity. Without even realizing it, it is easy to find oneself spending multiple hours on social media, instead of something as simple as going outside to get fresh air or playing catch is now replaced with just staring at a phone screen. Not only does it take away from physical activity, but it also leads to sleep deprivation. Mentioned in the article Negative Effects of Social Media by Mir, Nova, and Samore, social media use at night disrupts sleep in a number of ways. People stay up late online. The light from the screen can disrupt one's sleep, and many wake up in the middle of the night in order to check the response or respond to messages. Spending multiple hours in a row on TikTok, creating and watching videos, sending selfies on Snapchat to your friends all hours of the night keeps one away from sleeping because they won't put their phone down. The addictive element of social media can also bring forth many health issues concerning obesity and eating disorders. By spending countless hours on social media platforms, young adults spend less time exercising, which can cause obesity. And the lack of self-confidence social media brings forth is a major reason for eating disorders. Young people see thousands of images on a daily basis on social media, and they use those as who they want to look like. That's going back to the perfect lifestyle that people display. Social media brings forth poor feelings about oneself, which causes many issues physically. The neglect of physical activity or overuse of social media is the final negative effect that social media has on adolescents' lives. Now that I have completed my speech on why I want you to agree that social media has a negative effect on society. As social media has developed, society's ways of life has drastically changed. Although social media presents many improvements in everyday life, it is impossible to ignore the glaring downsides that the public platforms. One should be aware of the dangers that social media brings forth. Although some people may not believe that social media impacts adolescents in a negative way, I believe that it does. Thank you.